if I can hop in before you start your training, any other questions that I can answer for you, for anybody?
No?
I think we're good for now.
Yeah, I'm
I
feeling
have
pretty
a question.
Yeah.
So I thought that I read somewhere in iLearn that we were supposed to post our videos on Google Plus, but you keep mentioning that they should be in our portfolios. Does it is it one or the other, or is it
Well,
either one?
the syllabus talks about having everything in your portfolio. The only thing I care on the portfolio is your code. And if you post your videos to the team, to your team site, that's fine. And then, just notify me of them when you submit your weekly assignments. That's fine.
What's
Okay,
the
good.
weight of the videos on the grade?
Say again?
What's the weight of the videos on the grade?
Oh, those contribute more to professionalism. Well, okay, they are part of professionalism, and professionalism is 30% of your grade, but that's just not pure videos. That's you participating in the team meetings, doing your assignments, making sure that you make regular progress in your portfolio. So it
Okay.
is a factor. I don't I don't grade the quality of your video. The fact that you're working on them and contributing to the team is what
So
I care about.
what's more important than the video is the fact that you're contributing to the team and teaching stuff to the others, etc.
Yes, that you're teaching your fellow teammates on different topics and you're participating, you're attending the meetings.
Okay, that's
You're
fine. Yeah,
you're
because
being a
I kind of
professional.
missed all the. I kind of didn't publish any teaching video, so I was kind of wondering.
It all gets put together in how much you're participating and contributing.
Okay. And one other quick question. So I'm looking at the rubric for the code topics. I see so manipulating CSS class properties using JavaScript. What do you expect for this?
You've got your CSS that does different animations based on whether it's based on the class or some attributes of a div, for instance. And you should be able to, using JavaScript, you should be able to make a change to an object on your screen that will then trigger an animation or affect take advantage of something that's in your CSS styles. It can be something as easy as changing a class or adding a class to an object on the screen, and then in your style code for CSS, that class will trigger an animation or a transformation or something like that. So you do something in JavaScript that will trigger a change.
Okay. So it will the class needs to trigger some transition animation or something like that.
Yeah, changing the class is one of the easiest things to do, and then you have all kinds of different classes, style classes set up, and when you change the class for your object, then it'll automatically go pick that up.
So can a model count on this code topic?
Can a model count on the topic? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And what do you mean model?
Well, on my portfolio, I open some models. When you click on the different tiles there is on the homepage. So does this count towards the the manipulating CSS class properties code topic.
Are you actually using JavaScript to make the change?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm using JavaScript to activate or deactivate the model. So basically, the JavaScript is used to add or remove the class that allows the model to be shown.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yes. Direct that to my attention this Saturday when you submit your assignment. I'm not sure what I gave you on your grade for that.
So far, I got 0 on the code topic, so that's why I was wondering.
Oh, okay. All right. Make sure you bring that to my attention when you do your grade, and I'll take a look at it.
Okay, thanks.
You bet. Anything else?
For me, it's good.
I'm good.
All right. I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to see if Golden State can make up their 12-point deficit. Oh, 22-point deficit.
Ouch.
So, all right.
Well,
have
they
a
could
good
if they were
meeting.
playing
Thanks.
Blazers,
Going
but
the wrong
we'll
way.
see.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good night, you guys.
Hi,
Okay.
Hi.
All right. So my topic was JSON again. And let me share my screen. All right. Okay. So you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, so my topic was JSON, and we talked about, the first time we talked about JSON, we talked about how JSON is broken up into objects and arrays, and within each object and array, there's a value and a key associated with a value and or whatever information is being passed. So I wanted to take it one step further, and in my examples of JSON, I've only ever just had it been static. JSON's been in the code already, and I wanted to take it a little bit, take it one step further and use an AJAX call to one of Google's APIs that they have that will run a test on a URL and then return back JSON. It will return back a bunch of information in JSON format, which you can then grab values and keys and insert it on your page. So it's taking one step further than just having JSON in your code already. This is going to send an AJAX call to Google, and they're going to provide a JSON object that we can, full of information that we can display on a website. So the URL that I'm going to be testing with and doing this all is just this tylersfiles.com, and all it's got is just h1 hello world. So not a lot of info is on this page, and that's on purpose, that it doesn't take forever to make the call and get information on it. Google has this page speed insights tool where basically you put in a URL and you analyze it, and it'll tell you, basically it'll give you your website a grade. So on this one I get an 89 on mobile, and desktop it's 100, but that's just because there's nothing on it, so there's no rules that I could have broken. But anyways, it's telling me that my website here has 100. There's no suggestions. It's a great website as far as like the speed goes. And
is it normal that I can just see your hello world page currently?
You just want to see this?
No, currently I can just see your hello world page.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Can everybody else see this Google page?
I see your page. I see Google page.
I can see it.
Huh. Well, yeah, I don't know what to tell you there, Severe. But if you just go to Google PageSpeed in your Chrome browser, it'll come up and show you what it looks like. So this Google PageSpeed, as I mentioned, they have an API, and API is just a way that you can communicate with another web application or a web database, and you can use AJAX calls to send information to a web app or a database, and then that is designed to return information to the sender. And you can use AJAX to do that. So what I'm going to do is I want to have this URL tested on like locally. I'm just gonna make a little web page, and I want to see the JSON that gets returned. So basically, all of this info that you see right here is basically what's going to be returned in the API call, and it'll make more sense when we go through it. So here's a little. This is my HTML and JSON, and I'm HTML and JavaScript and whatnot here. And so as you can see, it's just a basic HTML document here. It's got just a div with ID demo, and it's got a button here that when you click on the button, it's going to run this function load doc, and that function is right here in this script tag here. And there's a couple of Ajax attributes here that are already set, and some of those are like this new XML HTTP request. That's an Ajax attribute. So what I do is I set a variable x HTTP is equal to a new request, and you'll see that this variable is here. And whenever the Ajax is ready to function, which it automatically is once you make a new request, it's going to run this format. And this was new for me. I've never used Ajax to make a call vanilla like this, like a vanilla JavaScript call. I've only ever used Angular to communicate with an API. But with this, with the way that this is formatted and set up, whenever the call is made, which is it's weird, it's kind of weird that it's like this, but at the bottom here, there's a .open and a .send. You see, here's my variable that I have for this new request. It has some set parameters within this. One of them is a get, which is basically telling to get whatever information. And then I have this URL, which I got previously by, if you just Google PageSpeed API, it's going to give you this set URL here where you can pass in a URL that you like to test, and then it'll give you the info. So as you can see here, here's that website that I did, Tyler's Files. It's in this URL link here. And once you get it and send it, you can see the information that it comes back. And it's kind of complicated, and I'll make sure that I post this on our GitHub so you guys can take some time to pick through it, and you can see exactly how it's all set up. I'm just kind of brushing over it, but this is a set Ajax call with this response text. This is basically going to return whatever comes back from this URL or this API call to the Google PageSpeed. It's going to return, and I've got it just going to get element by ID, this demo here, div, and whatever returns, it's going to replace this text here with whatever it returns. So let's do it. And just to summarize again real quick, so whenever we push this button, it's going to run a function that's going to send an Ajax call to this URL that has my specific URL that I'm testing, and we can change that to anything, and we'll do that in a sec. And then once it returns, you can mess with the response that you get. And I have a little boolean here that says if it's not a 404 or a fake or not a real URL, then it's just going to return a please enter valid URL. So let's just try one real quick. All right. So here's my page, and did someone say something? Okay. So here's my page here. Whenever you push this button, it's gonna run that script, and you can see that this URL that we've put in here is an API call, and this is JSON right here. This is a gigantic JSON object here. Right now it's in string format because this response text, this Ajax call, returns everything in one big string, so it's kind of messed up and kind of unorganized. But this is what gets returned from Google by sending that Ajax call. And if you look closely, you'll see that all of this info is basically what you see right here. So with that Ajax call, it's you can use this info and have it just display right here. If you take all this info right here and organize it so you can actually read it, it looks like this. And this is actually that same URL that is in our code. I just have this Chrome extension called Format JSON that is putting it all nice and clean for me to look at. But this is just one big JSON object. And it's separated by objects and arrays, and it's got the keys and values and whatnot, so you can see it here. So let's actually grab something in this object and have that just display instead of all of it. So what we need to do first is we need to parse this JSON object, so it's not a string, and then it's actually in JSON format. I've set it to a variable called data, and this is obviously just the string that comes back from the call, and we're just going to parse it. So now we can just put data instead of this guy here. And if we remember with JSON, you can find a specific result by going down the index level. And so let's just start at the top so it's easy. Let's just get this response code. So we're looking for the value of 200. Response code right here. So now that we have all of our info parsed in JSON as by a variable called data, what we can do, because it is now JSON, we can just do response code, because I've labeled this whole object as data. Now, if we want to get down into each one of these things, if it's an object, you just do dot whatever, and if it's an array, you do the brackets with its location. But this right here is not an array; it's just an object, and so all I have to do is just do response code right here. So basically, after we make the call, it's going to parse it and then I've got whatever value is at this location or this object, it's going to insert into my div. So let's save this and try it again. Alright, so there you go. So you see that now it's showing 200, which is exactly the spot on the JSON. And obviously now that once you've got this figured out, you can really go crazy with it and add a text in here where add a string and say this is a response code and do whatever. Put a space there, but as you can see, like now you can kind of use the information that's come back and put it into your application like it's being performed on this website when it's actually just making an AJAX call, which is returning a JSON object, we're parsing it, and then we just grab the specific value here. So that's kind of a lot. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Oh, that's awesome. It combined topics really well.
What's that?
It's nice to see like you working all the topics together.
Yeah.
Combine AJAX with JSON and working very well. But yeah, it was a lot. I don't know if I followed it all the way, but I got
Yeah.
it.
And I kind of figured that.
Are there any examples, like in real life, that you would use this?
Yeah, actually, for my work, we are a marketing company, and we have a bunch of clients that use Google Analytics. And if anyone's familiar with Google Analytics, the dashboard, it's very complicated. There's about 1,000 different things you can do with your Google Analytics, and you kind of get lost in everything. And so what we're doing at my work is we're making kind of a dashboard that's simplified that sends a response out to our clients' analytics, and then it returns back just the information that they need and just puts it in like a clean interface so that it's not confusing. So we can show our clients, say, hey, this is what your Google Analytics says in a dumbed down, easier view instead of just getting lost in your analytics screen. So there's examples like that you can use it for.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
neat example. I like it. No.
Yeah, and then one other thing I just want to show you. So like, I do have this else here. So if it's not a valid URL, so this is an actual website because that's how it files. So let's throw an extra I in this URL. So we got two I's, and if we go to this URL, you can see that it's not an actual website. It's going to return an error. So now that I have it not a real URL, save this and try it again. It's just going to stay with this please enter valid URL because it returned a status that was not equal to 200. And in web terms, a 200 is a successful connection between a server and a browser. So, and obviously I don't even need this. That's just there to organize it. So rather than just it not returning anything, it'll at least tell you if something's wrong. But so
Oh,
that's
I didn't know for the status, and I was wondering. So thanks for clarifying it.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's a good thing. So, sorry. Yeah, the status is kind of like a global keyword. I mean, you guys are probably familiar with a 404 error or a 500 error. Those are errors that the server produces whenever something's not there or something doesn't exist. And so you can just say, check the status. If this whatever URL that you're testing is an actual website, then it'll perform your thing. If not, if it's a 404 or 500, then it'll just say that please enter a valid URL.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I just didn't know about the status 200 because yeah, 404, 403, 500, it's kind of known, but yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, nobody knows all the codes. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep. And you can go crazy with this JSON. We can get something like that's way in here. Um, I have those. You just have to keep going down your list of JSON to print it out. So if we want to kind of go one step down, we can do page stats. Let's go with this guy. We can go page stats dot number resources, and you can see that this is an object. It's not an array. So that's why you use the dot. There you go. So we're looking for the value that's at this object's value. So if we save that, we look. So we're looking that it returns a 1. Oh wait, I don't think I changed my URL. Yeah, I did.
if you look at your file, you'll see that it worked.
Oh yeah, it did work. I didn't even see that. But yeah, so yeah, it did work. It returned the 1 there. So that's it.
Awesome, thank you.
And I do have to take off, but I will put this up on our GitHub so everybody can pull it down and play with it. And if you have any questions about why I did what, just you can message me on Hangouts.
Okay. And so Tyler, Jimmy, and Sylvester, you guys are back in developers, so you guys need to work it out amongst yourselves. How you're going to split up and what you're going to work on.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Okay, so I show for James, you have local data storage, and I have Ajax this week, right?
And I have,
Yeah.
no, it's me who have local storage, right? Or it's next week?
I show you next week for JavaScript objects.
Oh, okay. I thought I had local storage. Am I wrong?
Silver, if you want to switch, that'd be all right, because I have to do CSS animations for last week to this week. So I wasn't going to be able to do local storage.
Okay, because I prepared.
So I can take over your next week's.
Okay, I'll just switch your names, so then James next week you can do JavaScript objects.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay, let's go for Silver or James.
It's whatever. Do you want to go first, Silver? Or?
I don't care. So if you want to go first, go for it. It's all fine.
Go ahead, James.
Okay. Let me share screens with y'all. Can you see my screen?
Not,
I can see your face.
I see your face. Yeah, I'm like, maybe it's just me, but wait,
Yeah.
if I click on other
There's
James,
two
Oh,
of
the
me.
other one. Yes. Okay.
Don't look at my face. I don't even like to look at it. Okay.
Hey,
Here's
Simon.
my presentation. Let me play.
Katie, can you select James?
So you can see it. I couldn't hear what you guys were saying.
Katie, can you select James' screen so we can see? Because I think you hold the Hangout, right?
it has two screens. You just need to click on the one that doesn't have a face, and you'll be able to see the presentation.
Yeah, I can see your screen. You're fine.
I can see
Yeah,
it.
Silveria, you
I
just
got
need to
it.
select the one with the PowerPoint. There's
Yeah, I
two
got
of
it.
me.
No, I thought
Okay,
that
cool.
it was Katie who had the hold on which view is seen.
I understand what you're saying.
When we're in a Hangout, you control your own view by clicking on the little icons down at the bottom.
Okay, makes sense. Alright, thanks.
Alright. Okay, cool. So I'm working on CSS3 animations, and I'm James. So remember the fun box that I think it was Katie that created, and she was able to make the animations so it would go around in a square, and it
No,
would change sizes. And it was Silver?
Kevin, I think.
What?
Okay.
It's okay.
Well,
I
whoever
figured.
it was. Yeah?
What
Okay.
is it with me?
I don't know.
Oh,
It
maybe
doesn't
you
really
mean
matter
that
for this
maybe you
presentation who
mean
it
that I
was, except
wasn't
I wish I
present
could
for this
credit them.
presentation. Well, anyway,
Okay?
go. It's okay.
All right. So that way, what they explained that you can change the duration, so the speed of which the animation is going to go, and that changes all the percentages here. So each, if it's 5 seconds, then 0% is going to be is going to change this much. 25% is going to change this much. So it'll be 1 second each of those percentage. And also, you can change the iteration count to infinite, which makes it go over and over and over again. And the animation direction makes it so it can go back and forth, and it alternates between them. And so hopefully you all remember that. And then I'm going to move on from there. So, Brother James, I submitted my assignment with basically the fun box, and Brother James, this is what he said. He said that it's good, we just need to add some JavaScript. And so, remember the good and the bad assignment where we could do the CSS transitions? It can change the classes, and so you can add or remove any of these stylings from the div. So you can add the good, and then remove the good and add the bad, and remove the bad and add the ugly. And so that's what I'm going to do with the JavaScript. And so first, I use the JavaScript function onClick, and it's pretty simple. You select the class and then the function. So the class is it is already the button, and then when you click it, this function is called. I'm sorry, this is function 2, but it's the same idea. And it contains small, and then it removes small and adds big, which was those different styling classes that before. And so that way you can add and remove all the styling, and also add and remove. If I can go back one, I can show you the code in a bit. But you can add and remove also the keyframes. And so the animation can be completely removed or completely added. And the on mouse over is exactly the same thing, only it opens up function 2, which I actually the last slide. but it does exactly the same thing. And that's the end of my slide. I'd like to show you my code really quick so you can see it all together. Oops. Okay. So this is it here. Okay, so here's the fun box that was before, but we can ignore that. Then we have these different classes, and each one references an animation or no animation. And so that way I can alternate between them to make them animate or make them stop animating. And so this is what they'll do. We change the colors, the radius, the height, just like the fun box was doing. So, and now I'll show you what that was doing. This one. There's a box to click, a box to mouse over that, and it stops animating, starts animating. Click the box, and it takes away that box that was there, or adds. Any suggestions of other things that can be applied? You guys are all on mute, so I don't know if you guys are talking or not.
Oh, it's pretty sweet.
Thanks.
All the different things you've got to be able to do. I mean, obviously not in real world, it's too busy, but it's crazy awesome.
Yeah, it's not very pretty. They were going really fast this morning, and then I was like, I probably should slow those down.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to follow what's happening on the screen, I admit.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably could have separated them a little bit better. But do you understand the concept, though?
yeah.
Yeah, no problem for that.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then that's the end of my presentation.
Perfect.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
listening.
All right, Savannah, do you want to go next? You want me to go next?
You can go.
I can't stop following.
I know, like he just kept stopped staring at him, right? Like hypnotized. All right, let me go. Well, you guys have to bear with me because I was on Ajax and I got like basic Ajax.
Have you guys ever seen the?
Seen what? Are you there?
Waking you up. I'm gonna put myself on mute. I think this is done with the same thing I was teaching you. If you guys have ever played this game, but I'm gonna be done now.
Oh, okay. All right, and I will.
And go. Are you guys waiting for me?
No, I'm trying to. Can you guys see
Oh.
anything?
So
Because I didn't hear what you said. I was just wondering.
I can see it.
Okay, so
I can see it.
you have to bear with me because Ajax, like, I literally got to do like the most basic thing ever, and then couldn't get to work past that. I asked Brother James for some help because what I was trying to do was to retrieve information from local storage, and I think he misunderstood me and thought I meant from like something locally stored on your computer. Because he gave me some really cool code, but it wasn't what I was looking for. So I have a couple different examples of things to show you guys for Ajax. Only one of them's mine. Another one I found was a local example. And just kind of, give you some basic examples of AJAX. So, I mean, we've done AJAX before. AJAX is asynchronous JavaScript and XML. I found some good quotes that I thought really helped, like, explain it. So, the best part I found is that AJAX is a method of exchanging data with a server and updating parts of a page without reloading the entire page. And that's exactly how our developer explained it to me. Like, it's, you know, it goes and pulls information to the screen, and it never, like, uploads. So it makes everything a lot smoother, and the user doesn't realize that it's gone and grabbed this information from the database because it's not reloading the page. So it can use pull server from database, upload items to your local computer, which is what Brother James is using code for. I also found some code where, because I can talk a lot about AJAX getting information, but I'm going to show you guys a form this guy created using AJAX to submit the form as well. So you can use it to pull data as well as send data. This is actually a quote I found. I guess I don't know if it's exactly a quote, but it was someone had posted on Stack Overflow, and I thought they just did like a really good job. Someone was asking about AJAX, and they just did a really good job, I think, of explaining it. So I'm gonna read it out. AJAX is simply, you know, asynchronous JavaScript. Because we are doing an async task, we will likely be providing our users with a more enjoyable UI experience because it's not reloading the page. So this, they were talking about a form submission using AJAX. So there's 4 general web actions: get, post, put, and delete. These directly correspond with select, retrieving data, so that's get, post, inserting data, updating, inserting data is for put, and deleting data, which is the delete. So they correspond directly with doing those type of things to the information on the database. And then it just kind of goes on to say other things, but like those lines right, like right here, I just thought did a really great job of explaining what you do with AJAX. So I have a couple different forms I'm going to show you guys. Let me share their other screen. Okay, you guys see the screen that says retrieve password? Do you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like I said, what I was trying to do was retrieve something that someone had already like inputted into local storage and grab that information. I wasn't able to get it to work, so I don't know if someone else knows how to do it. So basically what I hit retrieve password, and it brings out what looks like a password, but really it's just another page. I'm having it retrieve information from another page that's just like text. It's not actually stored on local storage. But that was my idea of what I wanted to do. I see some examples using jQuery, but I know he said if we use jQuery, he won't grade it. So I don't know if someone else knows how to do that, but I wanted to grab specifically from something stored in local storage. And maybe, Silver, you can hit on that when you do your presentation. But
you did that using AJAX and not just like PHP include or anything like that.
AJAX, and I'll show you the code behind that in a second. I used that get. Remember how there was like get, post, pull. So I used get. In fact, here, let me just share that screen. So on. Sorry, let me get the right one. So here in this code right here, this is all AJAX. So I'm telling it. This is kind of like as a standard. When it's at a ready state, connection's good. We're going to retrieve. It's like this is the AJAX get. I'm telling it to get the information from this page, but on that page, it's literally just text. Like I said, I wanted to be able to tell it to get the information that was stored in local storage. But I couldn't figure out how to get it to work to like reference that page and then the function within that page of storing the information. If that makes sense. That was like my idea, and I don't even know if it's really possible or not, but so this is using AJAX. We're using the XHTTP get and then get that page.
I think you could look at what who's the first person to go?
Tyler?
Tyler, because he was able to pull directly from the parsed out code and pull out a specific value.
So that's I kind of wondered if like what I would have to do was so they put the information in, it stores it. I think you have to take like from where it was stored, parse it, and then pull it from there. I think like you don't have to step in between, and then
Yeah.
pull that into here. So it was a little over my head, and I think I would have to take a lot more time to like get to work. But I think that you could do it. I just don't have the skill level at this point to make it work, apparently. So
Right.
but that was my idea behind it. I was like, well, that would be great. You know, I could go retrieve this. So when I asked Brother James, he sent me this, thinking that I meant getting a file from your computer. So he sent me this, and what it is like you can choose a file from your computer, and then it reads the bytes on it.
I can't see it. Do you have it up on the screen?
I need to stop. I need to stop sharing this. Hold on a second. Let me just. Sorry. Okay, so, anyways, do you see it now? This get document with Ajax.
Yeah.
So this is what he sent me,
Oh.
and I was like, no, by local storage I meant like, like the topics we're talking about, like not literally locally on my computer. But so he said this, that you can grab the document from your computer, and then he gives it the ability to read the bytes. So read the information that's on the or in the document. So I mean that was kind of cool in its own, not what I was looking for, but another option for using Ajax. And I can share I can share the code with you guys as well for that if you guys want to look around with it and play with it.
Sure.
And then the other, I did see that there was this guy had done an entire, well, he doesn't just use Ajax, he uses jQuery too, which is a reason I can't submit it because it's using jQuery, and he said he won't read that. But that this form, and I tested it out, it works. Like, I enter all this in, hit send, and it goes to my email. And so I'm going to show you the code for that. Because he did a little bit of jQuery, a little bit of Ajax, and a little bit of PHP. But I just thought it was kind of cool because, like I said, like I read all the stuff about Ajax, about getting information, but you don't see a lot about it using it to send information. And so, you know, he had an Ajax form, just basic front-end form. And then he could use Post, and so it's kind of a mix between the jQuery and the Ajax. He used this Post code, and then he has this Mailer PHP to send the form using Ajax, and a couple of other different forms. But again, I'll post all this code on there. It's not my code. I just want to kind of show it as an example that you can use Ajax for more than just retrieving items. You can also use it to send data as well.
And did you get an example of sending data with Ajax?
So this is
with pure JavaScript?
I'm sorry, say that again?
With pure JavaScript, so no jQuery.
Yeah, no, I couldn't find it without jQuery. This is this is like the best example I could find that worked. There was a couple other people who had said they did it, but when I grabbed it, copied over, it wasn't working right. So this was the one that like actually worked with that it would work.
Okay, I see.
So
because yeah, that would be really interesting to be able to send data to a database, to interact with a database with Ajax for our application.
yes. So that's it. It might be something that as you're looking, you might want to do some more research on as well. But like I said, I could only his was the one that like actually worked and worked smoothly, and did what they said they were doing. Some of the other ones claimed it was working, but I couldn't get it to work. So, but yeah,
and at worst, we can simulate a database with a JSON file that we will host in the rest of the application. So it's not really a big deal.
No. Yeah, I'll post all of this on the GitHub so you guys can look at it, all of the different code, and just play around with it. So, like I said, I'm not super strong on Ajax. I saw a lot of really cool examples, and I can see that there's a lot you can do with it. But I got to do like the most basic thing, and that was about it. So, epic fail on my part. All right, so there, your turn.
Okay. So let me share my screen. Just okay, so I'm gonna probably start with the example. So my example is local storage. So I'm going to go to the local storage thing here. Okay, so we start. We have a field here to type your name, and two buttons, one to begin, one to retrieve your name. So I already used it, so I think the retrieve name, oh no, it's empty, I emptied it. Okay, so we're gonna start, so I'm gonna pick a name at random. So yeah, let's begin. So the app is telling you, hey, what's up? What do you want to do? So you have several options here. So what you guys want to do? You have several options, so let you choose. Anyways, all work, so if you have no idea, I can go with them in the sense. So let's start with change name because game is really dumb as a name. So I'm gonna put my name. So if I retrieve here, you can see that I stored the name game in the local storage. So now I'm gonna store something. I'm gonna put another name. So begin. So if I put change name and retrieve, now you see that it's my name that is stored. I can delete the name, and if I do retrieve, there's nothing. Now I have these three options. So first option is to load content from a JSON file, display this content, and clear the content. So load content is saving in the local storage the content of the JSON file. Display is displaying it, and clear is emptying the local storage. Okay, so we're gonna start by loading the content, and now we can display it. So this is the content of the JSON file. So if I click terminate, terminates the process, but the name is still stored and the content is still there. So now I can clear it and terminate. And if I come back here and display the content, now it's empty. So now you have seen everything, and I cleared everything again, so there's nothing else. Now I can go to the code. So I'm gonna start with the HTML page. So what we're interested in is here. So the first thing you see is this ID preprocess with the p tag welcome, type your name, the input begin and retrieve name. So that's the beginning. So that's the first string which is here. I can put it here, and you can see both the other. So when you type your name, it fills the input. When you type begin, so I have this JavaScript function on load that runs from the start to the end, and that's listening to all the buttons in the application. So currently there's two buttons, and I'm listening to them. So if you click on begin, which has for ID, if I'm right, so it has the name, save name. So when you click on the button with the name save name, it reads it, and it launches the function save name, which is here. And if your local storage exists, it will store the name save name in the local storage under the name username. Now when you hit retrieve name, we're launching the function retrieve name. So launching the function retrieve name here. So it first stores it in a variable because I want to be able to show nothing if the name was empty. So if the name is empty, it does nothing. If the name is defined, we store the value and we are showing it to the we are storing sorry, we are showing it in the field. So the function retrieve name is just looking into the local storage to get the username. And that's all for there. Okay, now next, second thing that happens when you click begin. So it save name and it launched this second function called begin here, which adds the class hidden to this preprocess ID, so div here. So this div becomes hidden and the process div becomes shown. So the process div is here. It's this one here, which has 5 buttons, sorry. And this little EM tag with the ID username, there's some specific about it. So when you click on begin, so you're showing a process and you're removing preprocess from the field. And you're putting the content of this username tag here. And you're filling it with the name that you just retrieved from the local storage. So it's a little bit complicated, so it's gonna take quite a while to explain everything. So now we have our 5 buttons. So the first button, change name. So when you click on change name, you put back you hide process, you put back preprocess, and you're back on the first screen. When you click delete name, you do the same, but you also delete the name, which is sorry, delete name. So here, so you remove the item username from the local storage, so it doesn't exist in the local storage anymore. And so if you try to retrieve name, then retrieve name will return undefined, and so it's not entering the different if conditions that I have, and I want to retrieve the name. By the way, if we do that, and if we begin without typing a name, you can see the name tag is empty. So now, load content. So when you click load content, the load content function, so it will be fired. And this load content is using an AJAX call to get the JSON file content and get it on scope. Then on the result, it calls store content, and so it stores in the local storage the content of this JSON file. So I'll show you the content of the JSON file later. So store content is saving the stuff in local storage. Then you have the display content. So it's where you need to see the content, that JSON file probably, because basically I'm retrieving the JSON from the local storage, I parse it, and I create HTML out of it. So here's the content of a JSON file. So you have this JSON file is just basically describing some CSS. Some HTML. So you have a p tag with an inner HTML, so content of text. First thing a text, the page has been processed. Second thing, the em tag, when we will store the name. And oh, sorry. So not the em tag. Say click below. Sorry. So this em tag here. Click below to terminate. So another piece of text which is to terminate. Then there's the button tag here with several attributes. So the class btn and btn default. So if we inspect the element here, so button, class btn default, id terminate, and onClick equals terminate. And it's text, which is terminate. Really easy. So I'm calling this createHTML function here. Quite long, as you can see. It was the most complicated thing to do in this whole function and functionalities, I think, because basically it forced me to be really careful on how I built my JSON file. It caused me some errors I had to fix, but it worked in the end. So you're starting by creating an empty string, and you're iterating through an array. So if you look at the JSON file, you see that it's an array with a list of objects here. So here you have one object, here you have a second. Each object is an HTML tag, and the array is containing all these HTML tags. So I'm gonna iterate through the array. And for each of the item, which I called node because it's an HTML node, I'm gonna look if the tag field is defined. So if the tag field is defined, so if the tag field is not defined, it means that it's just text. And so I'm going to add the text to the HTML string. If the tag field is defined, first we create an opening tag with the angle to the left. Then the name of the tag, so node.tag, node.tag, which is p here. Next, if node.attribute is not defined, there's no attribute, we can close the tag. If the attribute node is defined, then we're gonna read in the attribute node, attribute portion of node. And first we're gonna try to see if there's an ID. So we go here. For the first tag, there's no attribute, so we skipped it and we went directly to closing the p tag. For the button, there's an attribute and there's an ID. So we fill first the ID terminate. Next, if the class is defined, we're gonna add the class equals, and we're gonna add a list of classes that are inside this class sub-attribute here. So class is a list, so it's an array. So we iterate through the array and we add each class one at a time. here. So for each class in the array of classes, so each class name in the array class, we're going to add to the HTML string the class name and a space, because we want to separate all the class names by a space. And when we finish with class attribute, we close the class attribute, and we go to the following one, which is onClick. So for the p tag, there's nothing, but for the button, as you can see, there's an onClick attribute here. So we bring it here. For everything that's onClick, it's a function. So I just put the name of the function in the content file. And here I just add the parentheses and the semicolon to actually launch the function. And there was nothing with a name attribute, so I could have completely skipped this. Would have been just fine. So then you close the opening of the tag and you put the content of the inner HTML of the tag. So you go back here, inner HTML for the p tag, so there's a piece of text, another tag, and another piece of text. For the button, there's just a piece of text. And so if the node contains if the inner HTML is empty or undefined, we put nothing and we close the tag. If the inner HTML is defined, we use back create HTML, which is a recursive function, as you can see, on this inner HTML attribute. And that's what it does, and that's how it built this nice piece of HTML here that you can see from here to here. So all this was built out of this JSON file, out of the Ajax code. And finally, after you finish, you put this content in the div ID with the ID equals content. And the last thing, it's clear the content. So when you don't want to store this content anymore, you just clear the local storage and it's all fine. So I've explained you all how the code works. Obviously, I could have used also like some JSON file from, for example, Google Spreadsheet, stuff like that, but didn't feel the need for it. It would sure be nice. So basically, you can see with that you can store kind of anything in the local storage. You're not obliged to store like just a piece of text or something, though there's one thing you have to know. It's if you want to store an object, you have to serialize it before. For JSON, for example, you can't store an object. You can just store a string or a number. So if you try to, I'm not even sure you can store a number. So yeah, no, you can't. You can just store strings in the local storage. So whatever you want to store, you need to first serialize it through JSON to be able to store and retrieve it. And that's kind of all. I don't know if you need anything else for it. So if you have questions, ask me.
That was like a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
Yeah, this page got me on the cut topics from 15% to 73%.
Yeah, I believe it. That's it's crazy all the different things you had going on with it. You really went above and beyond. And I'd love to say that I followed all of that, but honestly, I probably only got part of it. It's
Yeah,
a lot over my head,
uh,
but I mean,
yeah,
I
it's a
got the
really
gist.
complicated example. So,
Yes. Yeah.
like, I try to use
I have to watch
see
it about 5 times to see
Ajax
what's going
call,
on.
JSON, and local storage all together to make the stuff. So
Wow.
it was
That's very impressive.
pretty heavy on work.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. I can see that. Well, thank you very much, Claire. It looks like for next week we have James doing JavaScript objects, Adam doing local storage, Megan doing Ajax, and Kevin doing JSON.
Okay.
And then, so like I said, so back end, you guys need to get together and figure out, how
Sounds
you're
good.
breaking up and what you want to work on. And then front end, do we want to try to do like a meeting, or how do we want to figure out what we're doing this week?
So
We can go ahead and get together and we start planning. Yeah.
Okay.
So who will present on Ajax, please?
Today, who did Ajax? Me.
No, who will present on Ajax next week?
Next week is going to be, sorry, let me get back up there. Next week is going to be Megan.
Okay, so Megan, if you can find example of ways to communicate with the database with Ajax, it would be really nice because I think that's what we are missing currently.
I'll do my best.
Alright. Okay. Megan and Kevin, I don't know. Do we want to try to do Google Hangout? Do we want to like chat and figure out what we're doing?
Let's do a quick hangout.
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to go tomorrow night?
That'll work for me. It'd have to be a little bit later, though.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Like 8 p.m. Pacific.
So 9 o'clock
Yeah.
Mountain time. Does that work for you, Megan?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'll plan on initiating a chat with you guys tomorrow at 9, and we'll get it figured out.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Another quick question: who's on for the backend?
So it's you, Tyler, Adam, and James, and I think you guys decided you were going to split up into 2 teams of 2. So you need to get a hold of the other 3 and figure out how you're going to split up and who's taking what.
Okay.
And in the shared doc, I've kind of set up a tentative schedule, and plus I put in like the questions and scoring. But if you guys think that you need to do something else before like in different orders, that's absolutely fine as long as it's all getting done. Because honestly, I don't know it well enough to know what should go first. So you guys can decide on that. But it's you 4.
Okay. So James, Adam, do you want to like try to start splitting stuff now, or do you want to do it another day?
I'd rather not stay up any later, but
I'll have to wait until tomorrow. My internet's.
Tomorrow?
yeah, I gotta wake up
try
at
for
like
tomorrow.
4 in the morning, so.
So if that's got to be done tomorrow, it will be only through chat and not through Hangout because I won't be available.
You want to do it over email and chat? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, through email and chat would be fine for me.
Okay. Yeah, just start messaging us, and I'll be awake and at 4 again, and I'll be able to respond at any time.
Okay, cool.
All right. Sounds good, everyone. I'll post this video. I'll see you guys next week, and Kevin and Megan, I'll see you tomorrow night.
All right.
Okay, see you. Have a
Thanks,
good night.
guys. Thank you.